Yeah.
Yeah, we are live. This is Mike and Tire and Mike and
This is the West TDD.
F5 TDD Mob. Yay! Last week we finished the mocks and stabbing bit of it.
Chapter 7.
So, chapter 7, yes. So, this week I think we are going to. Man, I have so many books I've started reading and I haven't completed.
I wanted to point
Yeah.
something.
You wanted
Uh,
to
point
point
something.
something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that the way we're taking this mob is somehow not very effective because
Okay.
I, as I shared with you last time, that Medium article, it
Yeah.
was so clear, so simple
Mm-hmm.
to understand the marks, the steps, and everything. And I feel like reading this whole chapter didn't bring me enough info, all those information as the article gives me. And
Yeah.
after understanding all that and getting back, I get back to the book and started to read again that chapter 7, and I was feeling like that there was a lot of information that we was missing,
Mm.
maybe because of the way we're reading. Because for my for myself, for example, when I'm learning something, I'm not just
Yeah.
when I'm learning something, I usually don't read it loud,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that in this map we was just reading stuff. Sometimes we
Yeah.
didn't get deep on that for the understanding on that stuff, and it is weird because when I read it again,
Yeah.
I feel like that we miss it
So
so much information.
proposal will be we read before the session and meet to discuss.
Yeah, I think that would be the best thing, but the problem is that outside.
Hello.
Hello, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, that should be the best thing to do. But
I think you're breaking again.
hello.
Hello. Yeah, you broke a little bit, and I think now you're back.
Oh, sorry. Maybe I can switch. But okay, is it okay now?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay. I was saying that should be the best thing to do, but I feel like maybe if we do that, we didn't have time to read outside of the mob. And sometimes you can say that,
Mm.
yeah, I would take some time to read this, but you
Mm.
finish up not reading it because you got a lot of other stuff to do, and
Mm.
we came back at the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, and I think what we should do is just that when we read something, maybe take the time to really understand it, and if we have something that we don't get right, maybe
Ask questions.
uh yeah, ask questions or do some googling,
Yeah.
Google search, yeah, and maybe figure it out. Yeah,
Mm.
I feel like we can improve it. I don't know how, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very correct.
Yeah, when I read again the chapter 7, it was like, how do I miss all those things? I was feeling like,
Yeah.
yeah, we did all these things, but I didn't get it like that.
Yeah.
And now it is more clear, it is more simple, it is more everything.
Yeah. I
I
think
don't know what.
I should get time to read back again, but yeah, it's the issue of time. You never have time
Yeah, but the thing
because
is, we're doing this not just to read the book.
yeah.
Yeah, we're doing it to understand and to be
Yeah,
able
another way. another way will be to work on a real world project during the mob.
Yep.
Yeah, because the book will expose you to stuff, but having a project that you keep doing and you get stuck and Sire help and blocks you, and that's more practical, like yeah,
Right.
than reading a book. Reading a book is good, it's so good, but like this book now we have like 10 more chapters to go, and we just took the last like 4 months to read one chapter.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll be reading this for the next many months,
5 years.
and I think yeah, and I think if it's a project that we are doing and we want to do some cucumber integration test, will be practical how to test, how to set up cucumber, and how to write the cucumber test, how to do all that stuff. We'll be doing it, and maybe coming back to the book on our free time to read, like you are saying, like you went back to the book on your free time and did the reading. So maybe we can switch the way we did switch with the Elixir mob, so that we stopped reading a book and we started working on a project. And the book doesn't live on, but every time you go to interviews, you are asked, what project have you worked on?
Yeah.
So if we start maybe the website 1 API backend in this mob, maybe next Tuesday, and work through that, and always keep working through that during the mobs. Maybe we'll be psyched up to be working on it some other time, which is not only during the mob.
Yeah.
And we'll have a product out, and we'll have learned a lot. And still, I believe both of us will read this book because we really want to read it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense to read a book for 5 years,
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we can get started on this integration testing, and then next week we'll reschedule it to 6 p.m. UTC.
5.
To 3 p.m. UTC.
3, yeah.
Just,
yeah.
3 p.m. UTC.
Okay.
And then we'll be working on a project. I think it's even difficult to keep a hold of people when they show up in a mob and you're in chapter 8 of a book.
Yeah.
And they haven't read chapter 1 to 5.
Yeah.
And they need to read and catch up.
Yeah.
But if it's a project, it's easy just to assign them tasks and they'll be attending the mob regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we can do that. Maybe we can seek. I know Matt is of that opinion.
Yeah.
But the 10 chapters, I think it's just too much to keep reading slowly. Or maybe once in a while we can say, let's read the book next weekend, and so guys can read the book and we can read the book for 4 weeks and dedicate one mob for discussing the book, and then the other mobs is for practical work. So we say that within the next 4 weeks, as we do the first 3 weeks of the mob, we'll be doing the projects, but then on the 4th week we'll be discussing chapter 8. So everyone goes and discusses chapter 8, and we come and something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but maybe now we get started with chapter 8.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so very interesting chapter 8 here. Integration testing with Capybara and Cucumber. So you spend the last few chapters focusing on testing the models and business logic of your Rails application. Our web application is more than just business logic. Though for the next few chapters, I'm going to talk about tests that tackle the parts of the application that either respond to user input or output data to the user. There's a lot of different terminology used to describe various flavors of input and output tests you can write. First, there are generic terms that are not inherent to Rails, but are terms you might apply to any kind of testing. An integration test is any test that covers more than one part of the application working together. An end-to-end test is a specific kind of integration test that covers the entire behavior of the system from end to end. An acceptance test is written to specify correct behavior from the customer or business perspective. Acceptance tests are often written or at least planned before coding even begins.
Okay. Within Rails,
Yeah,
there is a significant functional distinction between integration tests that only use Rails and evaluate the result of Rails code, and those that also use JavaScript driver to evaluate JavaScript based on simulated user actions. In this chapter, you will build a non-JavaScript version in the next. In the next, you will learn how to add JavaScript client behavior. A field guide to integration and system tests. There are a lot of different names for a lot of specific kind of tests. The Rails core testing library defines two similar types of end-to-end tests: integration tests and system tests. System tests, which were new in Rails 5.1, require the Capybara gem to simulate user interaction with the application and to carry application output. Integration tests, which have always been a part of Rails, also simulate user interaction but uses a Rails-specific API that is less compatible than Capybara. To make it more confusing, you can add Capybara for use in integration tests if you want.
RSpec defines, okay.
Go on.
RSpec defines basically the same kind of test but gives them different names. RSpec has system tests that are wrappers around the Rails core system test. Historically, the most RSpec users wrote feature specs, which are end-to-end tests that typically use Capybara. RSpec also has request specs, which are basically wrappers around Rails integration tests. In addition, both RSpec and Rails Minitest provide tools for specifically testing controllers, views, mailers, background jobs, and helpers. The following table helps sort out the naming. So we have user clicks via Capybara. So test evaluates HTML output. Common name, integration test. Then, yeah, so here I think they're just giving us via Capybara with JavaScript. So this is an integration test. Yeah.
Based on input and outputs.
Okay. And then URL for routing. Integration, then RSpec name is request. Controller, action, controller. Oh, so it's controller behavior, the test evaluation.
Yeah.
Controller behavior, yeah. That makes sense. In RSpec, whether the test uses a JavaScript driver depends not on the kind of tests you write, but the driver you configure when you start the test. My best understanding of expected practice currently is that the Rails core team recommends using Capybara and system tests only if you are evaluating code that requires JavaScript, and otherwise recommends the non-Capybara integration tests. The RSpec Rails teams, on the other hand, recommends the use of Capybara in system tests, whether the test uses JavaScript or not. Okay, so the Rails core team recommend using Capybara only when you're doing system when you're doing stuff that deal with JavaScript.
I don't need JavaScript.
Yeah. And then
Okay, that requires JavaScript. Yeah.
that require JavaScript. And then the other one is called
Aspect team.
Aspect Rails team. They want Capybara for everything. But the guys who did the test, so maybe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the second one is much used.
Okay.
Followed. Okay, I
Yeah.
continue reading. Let's start in aspect land. Here I will talk about the aspect and Capybara system spec rather than the aspect request specs based on Rails integration test. Chapter 11. Chapter 11, testing Rails display element on page 217 is where you will learn about request specs. Aspect system specs attempt to simulate user interaction. The input to the test is typically a URL to visit, followed by simulated form fields and button clicks. The output from the test is the resulting HTML against which the test typically searches for specific DOM selector or text. The tests I will talk about in this section do not interact with client-side JavaScript. In Chapter 9, Testing JavaScript Integration Tests, I will talk about how to use feature specs to interact with a JavaScript runtime. Setting a Capybara.
Yeah, setting up Capybara. So Capybara allows Capybara allows an automated test to simulate a user interaction with a browser. When simulating the interaction, Capybara works in conjunction with a driver, using the simple Capybara API to determine what elements using the Capybara API to determine what elements to interact with, and using the driver to manage the actual interaction. By default, Capybara uses native Ruby library that doesn't manage JavaScript interaction, but it can be configured to use a headless browser such as Phantom.js, headless Chrome, or Selenium to allow JavaScript interaction to be simulated. So Capybara Aspect.
Capybara is a part of default Rails gem file in Rails 5.1 and later. If you are using an earlier version, add Capybara to your gem file test group. In either case, there is a useful tool called Capybara Screenshot that takes virtual screenshot of any Capybara test failure. Again, add Capybara screenshot in the Gemfile test group of your Gemfile. Although Capybara is already available, there is a little setup needed to enable Capybara screenshot in this aspect. In a file in the spec support directory, add these snippets. We need to open our
So
code.
here we need to. I'm just opening that, and then after this is open. After this is open, I want to
Live share.
Yeah, I want to live share. While live share is coming, I need gem file. And I will come here. I
Capybara.
will come there. And so we add it to the tests. Yeah, gem capybara is already there.
Need capybara screenshots.
Nope, I can't see capybara screenshot.
Sorry?
So we already have gem capybara, but we don't have capybara screenshot.
Yeah, you need to edit. What is it here?
So here we need to add require capybara screenshot. So there's a dash. Yeah, Sira.
Yeah.
I can take a short bathroom break. Just
Okay.
a minute. I'll be back.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking a short bathroom break. Just a minute.
Yep.
Hello. Hi, Siri.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay.
Yeah, you can play the music in the background if you want.
We don't have complaint about Listen.
No,
Okay.
I think I'm good. Yeah. So yeah, I just added this to here,
Okay.
and yeah. So yeah. So what did they say that Capybara's screenshot do? It takes the screenshot of the screen while you are testing it.
Where your tests are failing.
Or when your tests are failing, okay.
Yeah. You can see here in either case, there is a useful tool called Capybara Screenshot that takes virtual screenshot of any Capybara test failure.
Okay. Yeah, so they said, yeah, okay. So maybe we need to bundle install.
Yep. I don't think we're using it right now. Maybe later.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe we just proceed. So the first part specifies that the system test should use RAG test. Oh yeah, I didn't do that. Driven by RAG tests. That's already there.
What?
And yeah, they're saying the first part specifies that the system uses RAG test with which is Capybara's internal Ruby driver. The one without RSpec. This setup is specific to Rails 5.1 and RSpec 3.7 and later. The second part sets you up to have Capybara screenshot available in your specs. Okay. Yeah, so Capybara and its own language. At this point, you are forced to confront another library syntax decision. Capybara defines its validations mostly as things that look like RSpec matches. It also defines its own optional integration test syntax, similar to RSpec, but with terms like feature and scenario to drive home the integration testing point. All of this adds up to a lot of different ways to express the same test. In the interest of minimizing the amount of time I spent talking about syntax, which is the least interesting thing I could be talking about, I'll stick to the same basic RSpec syntax you've been using in most of the book. Keep in mind that the other forms exist. That way, when your coworker shows you another Capybara test, you know how to read them.
Okay. Why are there so many kind of tests? There are basically three reasons. One, functionality. Because the different kind of tests cover different part of the process, they are useful for different kinds of code. Taste. Some people like writing unit tests for mailers, helpers, and the like, while others prefer to create coverage with end-to-end tests. If you were David in the mail hands-on, the test preference can lead to significant features of controller tests being duplicated. Genuine tool improvement over time. The Capybara system tests are easier to write and understand than the original Rails integration tests. Later in this chapter, you will learn about aspects, system, and feature, and take a look at Cucumber, a different tool for running integration tests.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Do you know that guy, David Hanson?
What? Do I know?
Do you know that guy, David Hanson?
No, I don't know this guy.
I think he's the creator of Waves.
Ah, okay. Oh, he's DHH.
Yeah, DHH. Yeah.
Yeah, I know he must DHH.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
You're
Mike.
back. Yeah.
Hello, Mike. Sorry, I think we need to drop off.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we can continue later or next week.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we can continue next week,
Week, yeah, you have to do
or maybe
something.
we can. Yeah, I have to rush home and then get set up for.
Okay.
Yeah. Doing some
Okay,
challenges.
sweet.
Okay. Thanks.
Was good to have you. Thanks. See you next.
Okay. Thanks. Bye.